Hey everyone, my name is Faina and welcome back to my channel. Guys, fall is here. My house currently smells like the candle section of a Target. Not joking, I have like 3 different scents lit up and everybody's like suffocating in here, but it's okay because it's autumn. That's an excuse to burn candles. So let me tell you, I am a mood reader. I have tried to make like TBR lists and I had like pretty little journals. I even had like a cute jar where I would put the names of all the books that I want to read in the jar and I would have to choose one and that would be my next read. Did I ever follow it? No. I tend to just read what I feel like reading. I go up to my bookshelf and I just start pulling out books and I read the plot, even though I probably have read the back of each book 100 times over and I probably memorized it, but I still need to read it over, and as I'm reading it, I'm trying to like envision myself into the story. If I'm in the mood for like a pirate book or something, and I'm trying to envision myself on a ship with the waves crashing against the boat, and then sometimes I'm just like, nah, not for me. All jokes aside, I've had trouble sticking with TBRs in the past, and the one thing that I see a lot of people doing are reading season appropriate books. So in the summer, you read, summer romances or whatever it is. In the winter, you read more cozy kind of books. But in autumn or fall, there's like a whole mix of books. Like a lot of people are recommending like spooky books, a lot of murder mysteries. There's a lot of other books, with like witches and fantasy. So let's go to our best friend, at least, well, he's my best friend, Google. I didn't know this, but I literally just typed into the search bar, what did I type? Autumn YA fantasy books. What I thought I would find was probably like bloggers recommending their fall reads to us, but then I found out, like, I don't know if this is new, I don't know if Google had this ages ago, I'm not sure, this is brand new to me, but on the top search, and I'll show you guys in a minute, basically it listed a bunch of recommendations for you and it classified them as autumn YA fantasy. So then I thought, you know what? Let's let, is that appropriate? Let's let Google. Let's allow. Oh my God, my brain just died. Let's have Google choose my autumn TBR. And this time, I'm actually gonna stick to it. So I literally wrote autumn fantasy books. I didn't write YA. I didn't specify that. I just wrote autumn fantasy books. A bunch of books popped up. For example, Cemetery Boys, Serpent and Dove, Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Bone Shard Daughter, and many more. So I've read a handful of these, but I decided to just pick 5 complete random ones, and I'm gonna see if they're kind of appropriate for fall and if I even like them, if I would even recommend them as a fall rec. Now, many of them might not actually be classified as YA or classified even as fantasy, because there's a couple of books I see here that are not really fantasy related, but when I put each book into Goodreads just to read the reviews, a lot of them consistently said that it was the perfect fall read. So as a result, I chose them based on the reviews stating that they would recommend this for the fall. So the 5 books that I decided to read for the fall, thanks to our friend Google, is The Night Circus, The Midnight Bargain, Payback's a Witch, I like that one, Mexican Gothic, and A Deadly Education. Thankfully, I have 2 out of the 5 books in my possession, but then I went through my bookshelves right now and I found out I only have 1. Mexican Gothic I got as a gift. My aunt got me a gift of Book of the Month, so I think it was like a 3-month or 6-month gift. This was a couple of years back, and one of the books I chose was Mexican Gothic. Obviously, she borrowed these books because we have the same taste of books, and I gave her Mexican Gothic over a year ago, and I never got it back because A, I forgot about it, and B, I can guarantee that once I call her up after this video, she's gonna say, no, I gave it back to you, and I'm gonna like find it in the corner somewhere. Maybe it fell behind the shelf over there, I don't know, but fingers crossed. The book I actually have in my possession at the moment is The Night Circus. I got this book actually as a gift from one of my amazing Bookstagram friends. We did like a Secret Santa kind of thing one of these years. I think it was like 2 years ago. a Secret Santa where one person who's the host, I mean, the patience they had is incredible. And there were maybe like 30 people a part of the Secret Santa, and we're scattered all around the world. And long story short, the host would assign one person, one Bookstagram handle to you, and you get to go on their Amazon wish list and buy them any book from there. And it was a complete secret. So I was luckily, the person who chose me was actually a close Bookstagram friend, and we live, you know, thousands of miles away from each other, but she's still one of my favorite people ever. And I got her, and she wrote a nice little letter here, which you can't see, but it says, "Merry Christmas. I hope your holidays are full of joy, happiness, love, peace, and cozy reading." Cozy reading, cozy reading. So maybe it is perfect for fall. This I put on my Amazon wish list because it gives me Caraval vibes, and Caraval was one of those books that got me back into reading since I stopped reading when I graduated high school, and I only resumed maybe after I graduated college. I don't know, I took a solid couple of years break. So Caraval was one of the first series that made me fall in love with reading again, especially like YA fantasy books. So when I saw the cover of Night Circus, it gave off those vibes. But after reading the plot of the book, I thought, you know what? I feel like I'm gonna really like this. I've seen a lot of good reviews on this, and it's been collecting dust on my shelves, and I have yet to read it. So I'm glad I get to finally tackle this. Shout out to Google for recommending this to me. The second book I already mentioned is Mexican Gothic. I chose this not because, again, it's been collecting dust on my shelves, but a lot of people told me it's borderline kind of like a horror story. I didn't look into the plot too much. I remember briefly skimming through it and saying, you know what, this sounds very interesting. And I like the vibes that the book was giving me. Like, she's a debutante, and they have like those, you know, flaming red lipstick kind of time period, something about wealth and a family's secret past, dark knowledge, all that kind of stuff. And you know what? I feel like that'll be fun. If it's true, and I'm not sure, that it does have a couple of like horror twists and turns, great. A fun, spooky read. The next book that I chose was strictly for the title, which is Payback's a Witch. I looked into the plot a little bit and I fell in love with it because it kind of reminds me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And I'm talking about the old Sabrina, not the new one, not the new show, which I haven't watched, but I used to watch the old one. It reminds me of it. It's basically a rom-com. Our protagonist is from a lineage of from a very powerful magical family. I feel like this book is gonna be a lot of fun. Like, I've been reading a lot of serious books where there's murder on every corner and betrayal on every corner, and it's like, you know what? A rom-com with witches is exactly what I need for this fall. The fourth book is called A Deadly Education. The first thing that caught my eye was the cover because I'm a sucker for black and gold covers. I don't know, it's just my vibe, I guess. But when I read into the plot, it sounded quite intriguing because I love books that are set in schools. Not only just like regular schools, but magical schools. And this one states that it is in a magical school. From what I read, there's like no teachers, no nothing. I don't know if that's true, but survival is more important than a letter grade. That sentence right there is what sparked my interest. I don't know what's in store for me when it comes to this book. I believe this one, out of the 4 books that I've named so far, this one has the highest rating on Goodreads. I feel like I'm gonna enjoy this one a lot. The final book that I decided to read based on Google's recommendations is called The Midnight Bargain. In the book, we have our main character who is a sorceress who practices magic in secret. She wants to pursue magic, which men are allowed to practice while women are not. And then she accidentally she summons a spirit, and there's a price, etc., etc. So from the reviews I read, many say like it's a very like sweet, innocent romance mixed with all of this dark fantasy. And these people, the reviewers are also saying that it tends to lean towards more of the YA fantasy rather than NA or like new adult or adult fantasy, which I'm okay with. But the one thing, like I've been, you grow up, I'm not that old, but sometimes I'm reading a book and the main character is like 16, 17, and They're very selfish with what they want. They don't see things in like the bigger picture because they don't have that mature mind yet. They're still young, and sometimes I'm reading and I'm like, come on, that's so frustrating. Why did you do that? I'm okay with that. I mean, all I have are YA books behind me. So those are the 5 books I want to read. But I am going to place them in order right now. I'm going to predict from my most favorite to my least favorite read based on the plot of the story and the reviews that I have read. And again, when I read reviews for these books before I read them, it's very brief. I'll read like a handful of them. It doesn't spoil anything for me because I only choose the spoiler-free ones. My prediction is my favorite will be A Deadly Education because I love books to do with fantasy, schools, etc. My second would be Mexican Gothic. The third will be Payback's a Witch. 4th will be The Night Circus, and 5 will be The Midnight Bargain. That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think I'm going to enjoy from best to least. What I will do while I'm trying to put this aside, I will make a follow-up video to see if A, I was correct because I know myself so well. My hair is already behind me, but I'll still, that I know myself so well that that's the order of what I'm going to enjoy, or I was completely wrong. Instead of some guessing games and having Google recommend books for me, I want to hear what are some of your book recommendations, whether they're spooky reads where I'll be too scared to read them because I'm a big baby, something that just makes you warm and cozy inside, like a warm fire on a cool fall day. The comment section is an open place, so if you have recommendations for anyone, leave a comment down below. I would be most appreciative, and other people will get to see your recommendations as well. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And on that note, have a wonderful spooky season.